gonna blow me out of this place.
Welcome to Executive Selections at the Cinemarijuana Theatre. That's right. Filmstain.com presents Executive Selections at the Cinemarijuana Theatre.
Some presidential picks for this election year.
That's right. That's what we're checking out. Presidential selections. And tonight from 1964,
Yes.
we have Failsafe.
Correctamundo.
Yes. So,
starring Walter Matthau and Henry Fonda.
the great, both of those guys.
Special appearance by Dom DeLuise.
Yeah, I don't think he was billed as special appearance, but
Special to me, damn it.
but yeah, I guess so. So before we get cracking talking about this flick, let's get introduced. I'm Ed.
I'm John.
I'm Chris.
All right. So, John, you want to give us a synopsis on Failsafe here?
Yeah, so basically, this movie was essentially a serious, non-funny Dr. Strangelove.
There you go. All right.
That's it. So you've seen Dr. Strangelove, you've seen this movie.
Yeah,
There you go. That's real right there. Cutting to the heart of the matter right off the fucking bat, I guess.
Yeah, it was almost eerie.
Synapsed.
It was like I was Jerry O'Connell in Sliders, and I'd come out into a parallel universe where they made a different version
Yeah.
of Dr. Strangelove.
that's
Fucking Looney Tunes.
It was almost like somebody had heard about the movie, like or caught wind from the lab of Dr. Strangelove, and then they needed to reverse engineer it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely some reverse engineering going on. Okay, so this we said who this film stars. Did we mention who wrote it and who directed it?
See what we got here. It's directed by Sidney Lumet.
Or Lumet or Lumet. I don't know how it's pronounced, but he's a great director.
Written by, the original novel is by Eugene Burdick, and the script was by Walter Bernstein.
Does it say the name of the novel by chance? Just out of curiosity.
Hang on, I'll get back to you on that.
Does it say who wrote the novel Red Alert?
And do they know each other?
Dr.
I've played the-
Strangelove.
Were they buddies?
The video game's pretty
Were
good.
they BFFs?
Yeah, just keep going. I'll get back to you on that.
Okay, all right. Yeah, a lot of familiar faces in this. And in addition, it starred a bunch of people that were in Twilight Zone. It said introducing Fritz Weaver. It was Fritz Weaver, not Dennis Weaver, right?
Yeah, Fritz Weaver.
And he was in one of my favorite.
It's a novel of the same name, 1962 novel of the same name by Eugene Burdick and Harvey Wheeler.
Okay. One of my favorite Twilight Zone episodes, The Obsolete Man, where he starred opposite Burgess Meredith.
That's the one that guy was from.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then also the guy who played the Gig Young's dad in the episode Walking Distance was in it. As we said, to the guy who was piloting the plane, the guy who was playing basically the Slim Pickens role.
Essentially,
I think he was the guy that was De Cruz in the one where they in the Rip Van Winkle caper where they, gas themselves to do the robbery and then they fall asleep.
Yeah, one of the best episodes of all time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was him. So lots of familiar Twilight Zone faces in here too. And Larry Hagman, of course, from My Dream of Jeannie. And,
it does the
Dallas
President's Aid.
well. So I guess let's get into our 3 minutes 3 words about this flick. You want to start, Chris? Should I start?
Yeah, you start off, Chris.
Sure, I'll start.
Okay, do it.
Yeah, like we said before, obviously, Dr. Strangelove is strange. Strange comparison or strange similarities between those two movies. Same studio, same everything.
Same year.
Yeah, Kubrick insisted that his movie be released first. Obviously, a wise
Good
move.
call, Kubrick.
No shit.
There's no way people weren't drawing parallels.
I guess people were laughing in the theater at this one because they had seen Strangelove and it was funny, and so they thought maybe
That's
this was supposed to be
shitballs,
It
funny.
was supposed to be funny. I could see, especially at the beginning,
Interesting.
you could maybe not know exactly what the tone of the movie's supposed to be.
Yeah, crazy impact that you can have just on. One of many propaganda films about nuclear, ambitions of the two superpowers or whatever at that time. Not unlike a lot of other movies of that time, kind of just fear mongering, really, and a message from Hollywood to
fear mongering. That's a pretty powerful charge.
To
well,
Washington,
no, I kind of agree.
Washington.
I thought one thing it was telling was that when I forget if it was the general who was like all saying how that New York, like it wouldn't even matter when people get to the shelters.
Yeah,
Like basically you're like screwed no matter what, you
Right.
know, which is true.
And the
but
fact-
that's kind of the antithesis of what the message usually promoted at the time was.
Well, and
where you think you would
dude,
be safe if you got in the shelters.
exactly. And the whole kind of premise of the movie seems to be that the citizens, the people of those countries, should not be trusting their government. They'll blow up New York without telling any of their citizens of some sort of
But
fucking
don't
just
you
move.
think it's kind of hard? Well, okay, never mind.
Well,
I mean,
we'll
there are
discuss
plenty-
that, too,
okay,
and then we get more into those.
Anyway.
sorry.
Yeah, but it is a little bit more on the human side than a lot of the propaganda movies, where you're just seeing like what happens, what if you need to be prepared. This is, don't take it lightly. It doesn't really come off like an after school special, in my opinion. It's really well made, really interestingly shot, really crazy cuts back and forth, very fast, and then sometimes really long takes in small confined spaces. Kind of makes just a lot of things to put pressure on you. I felt, I was feeling it. I wanted to sweat. It was just too cold.
Yeah, I could see kind of claustrophobic with some of the locations. The little room the president and
Yeah.
the guy are in and stuff.
And the table, yeah, even the
the
conference
war room
table,
table was
that they're
very-
sitting
yeah,
at,
it wasn't
they're
like
packed
huge.
in there, and you
Like-
feel like it's converging, like in some sort of weird.
The one in Strangelove almost feels like cavernous with the
Yeah.
huge, the big board up on
Oh,
the wall
totally.
and stuff. And this one, it did
don't see
feel
the big
tight
board.
and
Yeah,
small.
in Strangelove, there's things that happen in different parts of that room. There's nothing happening.
They got a buffet table in there
Yeah.
for shit's sake.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so rad. They're all just like chowing down. I don't support the work of imperialist stooges. Only commie stooges. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's fine. My 3 words for this film are going to be, I'm going to say GoBot Strangelove. Is that...
I see what you're going for.
Okay.
And this movie is to Doctor Strangelove what the GoBots are to Transformers.
Yes.
Ooh, okay.
Oh, well put.
All right.
That's my go-to analogy.
You compare everything to the GoBots.
Perfectamundo.
All sorts
All right, my turn.
Go
Yeah.
for it.
Okay. Wow. Ooh, some harsh criticism leveled against the film here by Chris.
Shots fired.
Propaganda and fear mongering, and the comparison to because dude, the GoBots was a fucking shitty cartoon.
Dude, the toys were good, though.
The toys were good.
They were hit and miss. Half
well,
just transformed by folding in
in
half.
half, like
but then,
tank.
Okay,
Yeah.
but then the
they
big ones
started
were cool.
really cheaping out. Yeah.
But the cartoon, there's no comparison. The fucking the GoBots cartoon, and I'm sorry if you are if you really like the cartoon, but even as a kid, I was like, this is fucking garbage.
It was
Transformers had the rad writing.
It was made by a questionable studio, Hanna-Barbera.
But I don't know. I guess we'll talk about it. So I won't really talk about the fear mongering or the propaganda angle about it. What I will say is, for the first half of this movie, it is fucking impossible for me to get past the Doctor Strangelove thing. I don't know.
Lovecraftian of it all.
I don't know the story behind this shit, but I'm just like, how, dude? Really? How is it possible that in the same year, in the same fucking studio, 2 separate fucking films are being produced on 2 separate books that are like the exact same fucking thing, except for
Government
one's
grants.
playing it for laughs, and the other.
It maybe is indicative of just how big of a deal kind of Cold War fear and fear of nuclear war was at the time. There was a lot of stuff kind of hovering around people's heads.
all this is Tommy shit. But I will say also too, I was surprised. I mean, because Kubrick, people level the accusation against Kubrick that he's cold, and you can look at it that way. I definitely see that. But humans are scumbags. It's hard not to be. But I don't know. I would say the end of this film is even more sort of pessimistic or nihilistic or whatever you want to fucking call it than the end of Doctor Strangelove, and I thought that was odd. Once I was able to get past the Strangelove thing, though, and just kind of accept that, it was fucking rad. I mean, all the acting is great. The lighting it's kind of got a noirish kind of lighting with all these harsh shadows, all these crazy fucking angles that look like they're out of
Some of the
fucking-
dialogue and the interaction I thought was sort of noirish. There was So one of the speeches somebody gives at the beginning, it was like, damn, like this is almost like right out of a noir.
Yeah, I will say that it was interesting because this was another People on Phone movie, like all the President's Men.
Yeah,
'Cause we had so many scenes of Henry Fonda as the president on the fucking phone.
And
Starring a special phone.
some crazy cool
Yeah,
phones. That
some
one that to
rad
hold
phones.
the thing down, and that weird presidential
yeah,
one.
some,
That was
some pretty dank old school
yeah,
phones.
Some crazy phones.
So that was rad. I imagine it's funny. Back to the thing about the two films being similar. Was like Lumet. Are we just going to assume that's the pronunciation here?
I think so. It seemed.
I imagine
Hopefully, we're
Lumet-
not coming off like idiots.
Lumet
edit
and
it out
Kubrick
later.
must have been in a bar and been like, "Dude, check it. Let's make the same movie."
Yeah, we'll really
We'll
drive it home.
We'll have them. We'll get the studio to buy it, and we'll just make the same fucking movie, and it'll be super rad.
You're probably right, although it was probably just two producers.
Yeah.
Like the two Hollywood guys in pinstripe suits with big cigars, being like,
But it's
making a war movie.
It is an absolutely worthy companion piece, I would say, to Strangelove, and certainly a worthwhile view on its own, particularly if you haven't seen Strangelove.
Dude,
So
ultimate double feature, like at the New Bev or something.
yeah,
The two of them
yeah.
back to back would be fucking sweet.
So I guess my 3 words about this film are don't write off.
Yeah.
Don't write apostrophe R off. Don't write her off.
Don't write her off.
Yeah, don't write her off.
Because it's rad. It's really rad, especially when you get to the end. Yeah. Sorry.
It seems kind of forgotten. That's true. Like
shut up.
I don't know when or why this was originally added to my Netflix queue, but it's something that for some reason I knew we had to see. But it's not when you hear about a bunch.
Yeah. Walter Matthau too. Fucking rad.
He was really
Badass,
cool.
dude.
Yeah.
So awesome in
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. So, all right, for me, it really this movie was intense. There was obviously, has been pointed out. I have to mention there were just so many parallels to Strangelove. It was bizarre. Like you'd swear that either one writer of one book or the other, or one writer of one script or the other, was spying on the other person to get some ideas, because it's just too similar to not notice.
Yeah. Crazy.
I mean, Walter Matthau's great, and like we said, he's kind of a combination of the characters of Dr. Strangelove and Buck Turgidson from Dr. Strangelove.
Well, also too, Fritz Weaver kind of is. As well.
Yeah. I mean, I guess obviously you could draw a ton of parallels between the different characters.
Even Larry Hagman's name is fucking Buck.
Yeah, exactly. It's weird. The things in the plane are really similar when they have the bomber. The bomber scenes are the one where really the most comes through, where you swear you're almost watching the same movie.
It's the same device, really.
The code book and the code machine and the whole radio problems with communication and the whole not taking the recall code because it could be a trick. Like everything with the interaction with the bombers is pretty much the exact same fucking story.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that like in a bad way. Like I said, you can appreciate them both separately. I don't, obviously somebody ripped somebody off, but hey, they're both really good.
Except, I guess the Russians were responsible for the malfunction in this movie, whereas that's not.
That's
the way
true.
in Strangelove.
It was more shown, I guess, whereas there was something satirical and strange about the failing of the system, like almost like this design catch-22 failure that was built into the American system. Whereas in this movie, it was like really because of an unknown new device the Russians were using that sort of then caused a break in the chain of command in the system. This movie is deadpan straight and black as night. It's really very bleak. Like I said, at the end, it's interesting, even though in theory, Dr. Strange ends with a doomsday device in theory destroying all of the Earth. On some of this, still feels there's just something that just seems almost kind of sick about what the president chose to do. And what they end up doing.
No, dude. There is no really acceptable solution to this. Is a true no-win scenario.
Yeah.
Any way you slice it, children are losing their fucking parents.
It's the ultimate lose-lose scenario. The part where the ambassador's phone melts when he's on the air with the president. That's one of the biggest chills I've ever got seeing a movie.
Especially because Hollywood has fucking trained you.
Yeah.
That like even though the suspense is on, like you think they're gonna save the day,
right, you
and
still
then
think
it's like,
somehow when you
fuck.
hear that, and to think it's like one of those things you put your mind in that guy's shoes, thinking about like he's like enough to report the bright light in the sky, like he's still with it, like he thinks the bombs are dropping in the skies, and just boom, just gone, just this his phone melting, like the shockwave and the blast hits him, and he is just gone.
Scary.
Henry Fonda
scary.
plays another awesome president, just like he did Lincoln in. I felt like it was, and you pointed out, it's kind of like a combination of his character from A Few Good Men. I mean, not A Few Good Men, of 12 Angry Men,
yeah.
and then Lincoln from Young Mr. Lincoln. Sort of as if they birthed this modern day president.
We should put Hank Fonda in the Hall of Fame.
We could, definitely.
He's the president.
The movie Presidential Hall of Fame.
Dude, hey,
he's officially the Cinemarijuana Theatre's president.
Dude, you know what? I'd vote for him.
Yeah, I would
That's
too.
Fucking A.
President for life. Henry Fonda.
I've seen him be a rad president twice.
Yeah, that's who we need.
And
this
a rad juror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and obviously a better choice than many of the choice we have in 2016. Yeah. So that's my time. So my 3 words are the bizarro Strangelove.
There you go.
Because it felt really much as if you were watching some weird parallel universe's version of Dr. Strangelove.
It's funny that there were so many people from Twilight Zone because it was like watching an episode of Twilight Zone.
It was very Twilight Zone-y.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That is a Cinemarijuana exclusive right there. That's a fucking mic drop. Boom. That's a bombshell.
That's your pipe bomb right there.
Mind fucking blown. Feel free to hit pause while you recuperate from that one.
Take a few minutes.
So yeah, all right. Well, you got any dank nugs you want to drop on us before we start talking about some of the issues?
Yeah, I got what they. They had music scored for this, but they fucking cut it out.
There is no music in this.
Yeah, that's another reason why I thought that phone scene is so stark because there's no real tones, even music going on, and then all of a sudden you hear this one continuous tone that means death.
That's kind of funny because there's a sound like that is in 2001 is an important thing. Wow, that's I didn't even articulate that during the viewing of it, but it totally there was no music.
Had it cut out.
Can we
posthumously apparently?
Can we get some credits on him? Because I know the only thing that comes to mind off the top of my head that I know he did was Find Me Guilty, which was the movie that made me go, you know what, Vin Diesel can actually act. He if you haven't seen it, it's based on a true story. Vin Diesel plays like this mob guy who like sort of takes the fall for like the mob kind of, and he ends up representing himself in court.
Oh, jeez.
And it's a really fascinating and fun movie, and compared to the other shit that Vin Diesel does, the other work that he's done, I'm not saying that his work has been shitty, but what I'm saying is the films he's been in have not been films that really transcended or were transcendent. But this performance, I was like, wow, dude, this guy he's so lovable and wonderful. And then I thought he was so good in Guardian, so I'm a fan of his now because of this director.
So Sidney Lumet, right?
I think we've decided we'll call him that.
So directed The Wiz, Equus, Network, Dog Day Afternoon.
Oh, fuck, Network. Dude,
Murder on the Orient Express, Serpico.
Holy shit.
Okay. You say no more. The guy.
Yeah, he did a bunch. I think the Vin Diesel one you're talking was called Find Me Guilty.
Yes,
from 2006.
Yes, that was a good one.
The last thing he directed was Before the Devil Knows You're Dead in 2007.
And then he died.
He is unfortunately dead. He died on April 9th, 2011, at the age of 86.
He wasn't the director of photography.
He also did 12 Angry Men. Oddly enough.
Oh, okay.
So
there we go.
Okay.
Just some beautiful black and white photography. Some of the framing of this. You know, it's so funny because one of the things that I love about Kubrick is his framing. Because he's a photographer first.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Kubrick, like it's like the DP is the director almost, and in a way, not to steal any credit from any of his DPs, but just. It was interesting that there were so many parallels between this and Strangelove, and then I found myself appreciating so much of the photography in this film. I kept comparing, well, not really comparing, but I couldn't help but sort of think of Kubrick and his photography that I loved, and so much rad photography in this, some crazy close-ups.
It's funny that both movies were directed by such kind of luminary directors. So it's not like one really feels inferior to the other one. I mean, obviously, you might have to give it to Kubrick, to Dr. Strangelove in an actual head-to-head race, but it's not like, I was worried at first this was going to feel like a cheap knockoff or something, and it doesn't. No. It just feels like almost like a different take on a very similar story.
Yeah. It's an Elseworlds.
Even though I said GoBots, it's really its own movie. I mean, if you've
really
never seen Dr. Strangelove, you could see this movie and still love it. I mean, it's a great story.
Right. Or if you have seen Strangelove, totally.
Especially if you like Strangelove and if you're interested in that type of story or Cold War stuff, I can see certain people maybe appreciating this more because it's more serious.
Right.
Like, okay, take like, like
Well, a lot of people didn't get.
Well,
right?
I could see like
They
my
didn't
mom,
get,
for
like,
example, if she
Strangelove,
watched
I thought, when it
both,
came out.
right? I could see her not finding Strangelove funny, so not really being able to appreciate it. But because
But
this
getting
one
into this,
is
straight
and
suspense.
serious, and you can just take this one at face value of being this serious, suspenseful, drama.
Yeah.
So I could see certain people actually preferring this to Strangelove.
Sure.
All right. Any other interesting tidbits you want to give us?
No, I mean Chris kind of covered a lot of it. The things on the screen on the monitors were actually all hand animated.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Because
that's
there was no
awesome.
actual computer stuff.
They were hand-animated.
They were hand animated. Score was taken out. The large metal phone the president uses to talk to the Soviet premier was actually a special phone used by explosive companies during blasting.
That's rad.
So rad.
So you could plug in a separate headset so you could hear the phone or something.
Feature film debut of Fritz
I wanna know
Weaver.
now.
Yeah, it said introducing. It was the opening credit for him. So
Yeah,
introducing.
so
Okay.
all right, those are all thanks from the trivia from IMDb.com.
As usual. All right. So why don't we do some Bulls Deep here? Well, we got a few minutes. You got something you want to bring up?
Yeah, my first one, and I almost feel like I'm, leading a class here, but I think this one is almost the ultimate question of this movie. Okay, so in this movie, the president made the choice to show, and, spoiler alert here, but to make peace with the Soviets. He decided that we would drop 2 bombs on one of our cities to make up for the 2 bombs being dropped on their cities, that we would preemptively nuke ourselves to make up for nuking them. So what do you guys, and I want to actually go around and have you guys say, what do you think of his choice? And if you don't like his choice, what do you think, just really quick, what would you have supported? Full, annihilation, or just wait and take your lumps from the Soviets, or what? So Chris, start with you.
No, I think you assess damages and pay off a debt. I think you rebuild Russia and the United States.
So do you not drop the bombs though? What do you think about?
No, you don't drop the bombs. I think you tell Russia, you say, look, this is a mistake. We're gonna, we'll fix it.
And you just wait and hope they don't bomb back, right?
Well, and then and if they do, you blow the fuck at them. I mean,
well, and in some ways, I would almost see that, almost being like a better choice, because it's that way. It's not the president killing U.S. people like you almost expect.
I think
it's okay. Hey, you're going to die either way, but I'd rather get shot by the enemy than shot by my president if it comes down to it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So what about you?
That's interesting because maybe the end of this film is optimistic. I mean, my initial response is like, well, that's pretty fucking gruesome.
It's pretty dark,
but given the circumstance, in the end, despite the fact that there's tremendous loss of life, both countries are able to trust each other in the end, and even though there was a fuck up, they both sort of are able to, do, I don't know, the least amount of damage, I suppose.
Well,
because I guess because the easy thing to have done would have been to just say, okay, fuck it, World War III, bomb them.
Because in theory, with his plan, it does avert, in theory, World War III.
Well,
they take 2 bombs to Moscow, we take 2 to New York.
No.
And maybe things get better. Maybe we learn a lesson, and it's almost like the end of Watchmen. Like the idea that some event happens that's a big enough deal that it brings people together. That maybe the loss of these 2 cities will unite the people.
Yeah, maybe it'll cause both societies to see the horrors of war, and maybe they'll get together over this shit or something.
Yeah.
But I don't. It's tough to say. It's tough to say what I would do in this situation. I don't know. I think he did the right thing, and I think the fact that he opted to trust rather than to act, suspiciously or defensively, is optimistic about humans. I guess.
Sure.
I guess.
Well, and that true even with the Soviet leader choosing to believe in the end. Like in the end, the Soviets, who are skeptical of what the Americans tell them to start with, do believe them. In the end,
I think what he should have done possibly as an alternative to was commit suicide.
Well, that's an interesting point, because what I was going to say is one of the things I was thinking about while weighing this thing out during the film is that the fallout publicly, I'm like, okay, you can't really, even though like in the long run you ended up averting like World War III or something like that.
Right.
You can't nuke your own country and go down in history as a rad president.
No,
Yeah,
you
how could
always
you
go
not
down
be
as
impeached
a
for
murderer of like
So,
20 million people.
I
or
was
something.
thinking that he's probably going to commit suicide,
Like
or be
like the captain
or
or whatever,
willingly
admiral.
submit to like some kind of execution or something following that, because as soon as and I don't know if the same thing would happen in Russia, but I imagine both the Russians and the Americans would flip the fuck out and be like, whose blunder caused this?
Yeah.
Somebody's got to pay.
Well, no
for
matter
this.
right,
Like,
you
he's
figure
gonna
there'd be a
die.
changing of the guard. Well, and even if it had to come to this, there'd probably be like possibly impeachment or something just for coming so
Yeah.
close.
Yeah.
I think
I mean,
an
ultimately it
alternative
comes down to-
solution, and this would have required some quick thinking, but the Americans should have just allowed a Soviet plane to slip through our net with 2 nukes to hit New York.
and then just covered it up.
Make it look
Not even
like-
cover it up, just make it seem like it well, cover up the fact that we let it happen.
Yeah.
Cover up the fact that we willingly let it come through.
And then
Right.
spin
Just
it in
pretend
each
like
country so that it was the opposite country to direct everybody's hatred back at him. To
Yeah,
keep the
now
shit
we're
going.
talking.
Well, okay,
Now
but-
that's a
but
economy.
then-
I
well,
can-
that doesn't
I can
seem
see
like.
that.
I mean,
I guess that would just save the president's face, but maybe not the planet.
well, that's
Trump,
interesting because
Trump. Oh, wait,
that
I'm
would
just
be that would obviously, I think, go down easier publicly.
Well, but if
but would it pay the greater dividend of having
if
everybody
it
get
was
together?
if it was well
if
known,
that's what would happen.
If it was well known that both scenarios were caused by technical failures,
And then we fucked up first.
right, that we fucked up first, and it could show that like because technical failures are a risk, maybe nuclear bombs aren't a good idea.
Aren't rad, and it's time for both countries to say
right.
fuck it.
So it could have the same effect.
Nobody in New
I
York
guess.
would
It
disagree.
could have had the same effect. I just think that
There
you-
wouldn't be anybody left in New York to agree or disagree. Yeah,
I
you're
just
right.
think that way it's like it's almost like a push, on both sides, and that way the blood is sort of on both countries' hands individually, rather than like it's just weird because that president will go down in history as like the butcher of New York. Like they'll never live that down.
Do that part where he's like, "We're gonna have to recover the documents."
Yeah, when Matthau's talking about basically, there's not even any point in digging up the bodies. They just need to go to the big
get the
businesses and
documents.
get the
Corporations,
banking documents and all the important paperwork because it's so
Scary.
important to the American economy.
Yeah.
But that's what it's all about. I mean, in the end, especially during the Cold War, I mean, the idea was the ultimate plan was getting the important people in the bunkers,
Yeah.
which was just like probably less than 1%, and everybody else in the big C just dying.
Fuck them.
They should have just nuked like the whole South.
Yeah.
Yeah, why New York, right?
They
It's like
should have picked
Alabama
they
or
should have
Tennessee or
placed-
something, right?
Yeah, they should have picked a
Yeah.
place that voted against,
Yeah.
like Henry Fonda.
Yeah.
Well, I guess another thing that we could talk about really is like how, as this is an executive selection, huh? President of the U.S. Like, what a thankless fucking job.
Jeez.
I mean, I know we're all
Can't
like, we're upset because everybody, but probably one of them that we have for in the cycle this year are absolute scumbags, and it's like all we have is like a rogues gallery of scumbags to choose from in every election, seemingly.
Yeah, that's
But at the same time, it's got to be such a fucking pain in the ass to do that fucking job. And even though it comes with some rewards, like, yeah, I'm the president, like, and yeah, I get Secret Service when I retire, and I'll be rich forever. Like,
well,
I don't want to make this decision.
Well, you see how
I don't want to be stuck fucking holding the bag over this.
You can see
Yeah.
visually how much has aged Obama just in the 8 years that he's been president. I mean, it's got to be one of the most stressful jobs of all time.
Yeah. Well,
And-
absolutely,
and
absolutely.
it's one
if
of
you
those.
care.
Well, and it's
Bush looks fine.
well, sure.
yeah,
I
it's
know,
very,
right? You
very,
give a
very little.
shit.
Don't even care.
Very little. Well, I bet
Blows
very
people
little.
up, yeah.
I bet very little impacts that dude because it's probably he probably just is just oblivious.
Yeah.
He's like probably
Yeah.
got Tinker
But
Toys or something.
You-
It's like-
It really is. You're damned if you do, and you're damned if you don't. It's a thankless task. I mean, usually the best you can hope to do as a president is not fuck things up too bad.
Right.
And no matter
well,
how.
then doesn't it make you a caretaker
Well,
president?
sure. Well, that's true, but then it's really hard. The way the system works, it's hard to get anything major done because you're going to have Congress fighting. The one side's not going to want to work with the other side.
half
I mean,
of the country's always not going to want.
right.
whatever
We
it is.
can, we
always
don't
have
get
a
too
new
bogged
deal,
down in
too,
political,
yeah.
but I'm just saying, and even if the
Sometimes you
president's
gotta
doing
make the
good,
deal
whatever
work.
party he's with, the other side is still not going to like it.
Yeah.
Even if you got a president doing a great job, if he's a Democratic president doing a great job, the Republicans are still going to talk shit, and vice versa.
Well,
so it is a thankless task being the president.
But that's because government's so out of our hands.
It's just it's a quagmire.
Never mind. I was going to go off on
And that's why we're watching presidential elections, because
shit.
we're going to try to take our mind off the nuttiness of the real presidential scenarios.
All right. Well, we're about out of time. So, is anything else anybody wants to mention? I know I wanted to just mention really quick that that moment where the dude refuses to get kicked out of the fucking war room was awesome.
That was badass. Yeah, with him being like, "You ain't gonna get me to my house in time, so fuck you. I'm staying here."
Yeah, fuck no, I would do it too.
The dude. Yeah.
Well, I've often said that if the world is gonna end, I just want to make sure that I've got a good seat.
Like
cool.
the end of in Sunshine when the doctor goes.
Yeah, and just kind of like gets burned up by looking at that observation window.
Or if you were to assume at the end of Fight Club that was the end of the world and they were just seeing little bits of it first, that'd be great.
Oh, you're getting deep now.
All right. Well, yeah. Anything else? Was that gonna close close the file on failsafe?
I mean, I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's a good presidential pick. It's a good Cold War pick. Like I said, I feel that this is sort of forgotten movie. So seek it out if you can find it. Watch it.
It's got real star power.
Yeah, it's just I'm surprised when I hear about this movie more. Considering obviously it's overshadowed by its bigger brother, Dr. Strangelove.
Yeah. All right. Well, for filmstain.com. This is Executive Selections at the Cinemarijuana Theatre. I'm Ed.
I'm John.
I'm President Chris.
And I don't know what's next in the executive cache, but
we've got a few things stocked up in our own Oval Office. So we've got some surprises coming up. I've got some ideas, so we'll see some other presidential, some fun ones, some serious ones.
Okay. All right. So stay tuned. Much more to come.
We'll be back. Thanks for listening.
Dad was deaf for a week or two. When we quit running, he was peerting her dead, but we figured that's the thing to do. There'd be